Sunday night, unlock the middle time. Ready for all of us to get together, spending this last day of relaxation with our family, friends, and going to his house, but making sure also that we sharpen our tools before the start of the week. As we know, a lot of the school systems have already started getting ready for professional development, getting ready for the upcoming 22-23 school year. Josh Stolad, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy here in Garland ISD, Garland, USA, welcoming everybody to this point of building knowledge and sharpening our tools. And it doesn't matter where you're from, whether it be from, here we go, ready, Maine to Florida, from Alaska all the way down to Hawaii, and all the way in the middle. And you know what, Dean? We're picking up a lot of viewers because I'm messaging people from different parts of the world. So they're reaching out, and future guests here at Unlock the Middle. But today, it's a day of learning from a great leader who has been nominated as Texas Secondary School Principal of the Year. And we'll get to David in a little bit, Dr. David Arancibia. But ultimately, right now, it's about all of us here in the United States growing closer together. What do you think about that there, Dean?
You didn't leave much for me to say, Josh, but happy Sunday night to you and everybody out there. You all know that this is Navigating Leadership number 70 tonight, and we've had so many great guests on, and I'll tell you, we've had over 375 episodes in Unlock the Middle, and every Sunday night, there's always a golden nugget underneath that gem of our person we bring in. And, I'm really excited tonight. I've had the fortune to be in the same building now for 20 years, 14 of which as a sitting principal, but also 6 as an assistant principal in that same building, and cultivated a learning community that I think is really, really good. But when I start hearing about people who are nominated for that highest level of award of recognition for best practices and learning procedures, that just makes me smile, because we can all learn something, and it doesn't matter how long you've been in the seat. So again, we're really happy to be here. We're streaming live on Facebook, Twitter. We're also on LinkedIn, and where else are we on here? And and YouTube always. That's absolutely correct. So hey, great to see you. Great to be here, and hope you're having a great weekend. What's been going on?
Just relaxing right now, preparing we're already into week 2 of administrative PD. So We're getting ready for a whole upcoming week of Title IX updates and all the other forms, situations that we all need to get trained on for the upcoming 22-23 school year. But you know what? Ultimately, it's a time to relax. It's a time to make sure that we enjoy our family. We went to worship today in the morning, had a good breakfast as a family, and that's what it's all about. Irregardless of all the noise, irregardless of everything that's going on there, always make sure that you take time for yourself. Always take time to enjoy the beautiful thing that is known as your family, because that's the whole purpose. That's why you're here, to make sure that you're a stronger individual, and that way you can bring that love to whenever you're working with your peers, your colleagues at the campus level.
Absolutely agree with you, Josh. I'll tell you what, let's bring David in. I mean, I'm excited. We had a little talk with him in the pregame, but now we're gonna just have some banter. We're gonna have some leadership banter, and I think that is what excites me most about the opportunity here tonight. So why don't you do the introduction a little bit, Josh, and then we'll have David take over for himself.
You know what? It was a great honor for me that one of the biggest conferences that I've attended was TASSP. And one of the very first sessions that I attended in a couple of weeks ago, it's already been a couple of weeks, oh my goodness, early June, was this young man right here, Dr. David Arancibia. And you know what? He talks about something that's close to my heart, making sure that you're on social media and being the voice of your campus. I don't know, David, if you've noticed some of the things that we've always said in our podcast, but I think that's one of the most crucial things out there that a campus administrator and also faculty members, cafeteria workers, is that they spotlight the life of your campus. You should be the voice of it. And when I was in your session, it was an honor to hear what you're doing at your campus, seeing all the beautiful things that go on via social media. Your team member that was there with you, her name slips my mind, but she did such a great complimentary job with both of you working together. And at that moment, I said, I gotta talk to that guy. I gotta make sure that he comes and brings in those tools that he has to share them with the whole country, if not the whole world. Welcome to Unlock the Middle tonight, here on Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
Man. What do you got left to say, David?
Good. Hey, show's over right there, Josh. I appreciate that. No, guys, I'm extremely excited to be here with you all tonight. And Josh, it was very much reciprocal, because learning always goes to and fro and back and forth. So you were able to give me some great information right there after that session, and we immediately implemented. So that was Bridget. She's on our team, and she does a fantastic job. But guys, I can't tell you, I'm really, really excited to be here with you all tonight. And I know I'm going to continue learning from you all. Hopefully, I can pass on a nugget of information here or there for those that are watching here tonight. But I'm just extremely excited to be here and humble. Appreciate you all.
David, why don't we do this? This is how I love to start all this stuff off. Talk about your journey. Just talk about how you got to where you are today. And I can see the passion. I can see it. I can hear it. And I just know you're that leader that just embraces everything around to make others better. So where did it start and how did you get there?
Man, I appreciate that. I really don't. So there's two different places I tend to start. Either like early life, where I talk about, growing up in East LA, Los Angeles, and the barrios of Los Angeles, California, almost getting jumped into gangs, living homeless for a little while. I can go all the way back there, or I can even start after, post.
Take it there. Fast forward through, brother. We want to hear it. Let's go. This is your time.
No, man, I have a fantastic family, and I've been just really blessed. And born and raised in California. I ended up moving out and going away to Arkansas. It's where I did my undergraduate degree at Harding University. Then I moved to the great state of Texas. My wife and I, we were like, you know what? We need to be somewhere close to my wife and her family, and somewhere where I could really jump in with my passion of athletics. I coached football and baseball when I first started on about 22 years ago here now this year. Here in Texas, and it's been a great place. It's been a great profession, but this is something obviously that I've always wanted to do. I alluded to being homeless when I grew up, and I'm fortunate. I'm going to be a lot of people have been encouraging me to write my book and the journey and on leadership and all that good things. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be coming out in the fall, and I'll really dive in deep into that. But I mentioned that early on because it's one of those deals that I live and breathe, and I believe everything that we do and we say, and I believe that this profession is a calling, and I'm just really, really, honored and humbled, really, to have that opportunity to use my experiences and to really delve into our kids and our community, and just really love on our community and our profession, and really invest into one another. So again, I can go all day long early on. But that's me in a very quick nutshell.
Take that nutshell to when you get into education. I want to hear what that transition into the educational world looked like for you.
Yeah. So, you watch those movies in Texas about Texas football. And I tell you what, those are real things. I was pouring in about 90+ hours a week when I first got into the profession. And just poured myself. I lived right next to Kaufman High School. That's where I started off, and Kaufman ISD in Texas. And, we pretty much lived there. So I learned, I always had that grind about me growing up. And I just learned right there that, in order to be have any type of success, that's something that you just need to do. Just pretty much be all in and just jump all in. So that was my first transition in there, and I was all into the profession. And I knew I was in the right place and investing in kids and young people. And I was just very humbled to be able to work with some dynamic leaders and that were able to invest into me. So that was really early on in transition. Then I had some opportunities to move around the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas and continued my journey. And now I'm at a great place, at a great school district, Colleyville Middle School and Grapevine Colleyville ISD. And it's a fantastic place. I love it. Man, I just love going. I say work, but it's really not work. I love what I do, and I can be doing it. I'm sleeping and I'm waking up in the middle of my sleep and I'm working, quote unquote, but I'm really not. I'm just really thinking of the next thing. So the transition, it was long, and but it's been very much worth it. And I'm just really excited about education, everything that we do, that we get to invest into our community and our kids.
Awesome, David. You know what? Thank you for sharing for everybody out there. The true football, Friday Night Lights, here in the state of Texas. That's the real football. I don't care. You can't fake the funk like Principal Cafele says. This is football in Texas, all right? Don't care what you Ohio people and New England people say. It's all
Josh,
about
you're talking some trash over here. I like that, man. Goodness, don't let him do it, man.
Hey, you know what, David? I'll tell you this much. You're not the very first person that I've met that has come from other states that they come and want to taste Friday Night Lights. You're not the first, and you won't be the last in regards to coming here. And so, hey, you talked about your beautiful campus, and you talked during your breakout session. You talked about Colleyville. Hey, let us know about that campus and the great things that are going on there. Some of the magic that's going on, the vision that you brought to the school. Because you know what, you're talking right now probably to somebody that just got hired as an assistant principal for the very first time, or you know what, yesterday someone just got hired as a very first year principal. talk to us about your awesome school and what you've brought to the table to make it one of the top schools.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. So Colleyville Middle, it's always been a high achieving campus. It's a great school and within a great school district. So GCIC Grapevine Colleyville, one of the things that we're known for, we just recently 4 years running, we were ranked the top 100 places to work in all of Dallas Fort Worth area by the Dallas Morning News, and that includes Fortune 500 companies. That includes small businesses, education. It's just really the culture is a fantastic. It's a fantastic place to work within Grapevine Colleyville. And Colleyville Middle School, like I said, it's always been a high achieving campus, and I've been very fortunate just to to stand on the shoulders of those that came before me. Right. And what we did as a team when we first came on, now I'm going on to year 7 now at this campus at Colleyville. Our team was able to jump all in and be all in with our core values. And some of our core values that we really stress at Colleyville Middle School is positivity, having a growth mindset, being just valuable team members to each other. So with those different things, and then really playing to our strengths as well. So we're a Gallup certified strengths-based campus where every single one of our kids takes that Gallup strengths assessment in addition to our faculty and our staff. And, that's a game changer in itself. So those are our 4 core values. And we were able to really jump in with that core value and really focus on our kids. And it's all about the kids. That's why we do what we do. So we invest and we pour ourselves into it, into our kids on our campus. And, we're very fortunate. We have a very supportive community and parent base that they love to be involved. And, one of the things that we've been really successful at Colleyville Middle School is I've said, come on, I want you on campus. I want you, at the front greeting and meeting the kids and opening doors for our dads and whatnot. And all that does is over time, that just continues to build that culture, that positive culture with our community. And we've just been able to build on that. And our teachers and our staff, we just have a dynamic staff that are all about kids. And because of that, our programs flourish. So we're really fortunate. I mentioned the PTA. We actually have more PTA members than we have students, believe it or not. And that doesn't happen by accident. We're very intentional about that because we do want our families to jump in and be involved in different things. So that's something that we're pretty strategic about. I mentioned the staff and students, and our band program, for instance, they're state and nationally known. They went to Chicago to perform as one of the 3 middle schools in the country that were asked to perform at a big international conference. Again, that's because we have dynamic staff and directors that are bought into our core values and are bought into our kids. And because of things like that, our programs just flourish. And it's kind of been a big model, like the Big Mo. If you've read John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, he talks about the Big Mo. And we just have a momentum that has been building for years and years and years, where our programs have just been excelling at the highest levels. I mean, we have all the different sports that you can think of here in Texas and middle school, including football. We talked about that. And every single one of our sports, we actually won a championship last year in every single one of our sports. That doesn't happen by accident. Again, that's buy-in by our kids, by our community, and by our staff right there. We have just a dynamic staff. So what we are able to do, Josh, you alluded to, the social media and those different components to get our positive word out there. That's exactly all I do. All I'm doing is getting our team and our leadership team and putting a huge spotlight on the great things going on. Because the reality is every single one of us across this country at every single school, we have something that's going on, something that's positive. Whether it's an individual kid, a teacher, a program, whatever it is, our job is to highlight and spotlight those individuals, those programs, and just lift them up. Because, there's so much noise out there in the world. Josh, you mentioned that early on. There's so much noise out there in the world right now today, especially in education. And you know what? We just choose not to focus on that. We choose to focus on the positives. And that's what we do. And that's really, Dean, kind of going back to the recipe of our success. That's a big portion. We just put that spotlight on the great things going on, and we just continue building that big mo that John Maxwell talks about, often in that book. And we just continue to roll. So I said a lot, and we have a lot going on, and I apologize. That was a really long answer to a very short question, but man, I'm just thrilled. I'm just really excited to be where I'm at. Very, very blessed to be where I'm at, and just the opportunity to invest and to add value into others.
First of all, your passion is showing through in everything that you're saying. So as a leader, there's nothing better than that. And your celebratory mindset and strategic planning and having that roadmap and celebrating the things that are important. So important for any leader. Here's a big question for you. How do you feed the big MO, the big Mo? How do you feed it? How do you sustain it, man? Let's hear about that for a minute.
I love it. That's a great question. How do you feed it? You keep just grinding at it. There's something always positive going on. When we're going in as administrators into the classroom, when you see that kid opening, having big eyes open because he's learned something, or just engaged because he and she is just loving that lab project or that science project that's going on, like, why wouldn't you highlight that? So I'll quickly pull out that video camera and just feed into that, just to feed into that just positivity going on. And we'll blast that out there on social media. The community loves it. Our teachers love it. Our kids love it. We'll turn around. We'll put that on our monitors within our buildings. Kids love seeing that stuff. They love seeing themselves and their friends on that big monitor, which we'll do. So we take all of that content and we just feed it. So to answer your question, we just continue adding to the Big Mo. We had a student that just went to high school here. He was one of our 8th graders. His name is Daniel. He emailed me. He's like, Dr. Ray, I appreciate everything that you all have done. Thank you. Just want to let you know, I was actually named a top 10 scientist in the country by this science organization. And Dean, the answer to that question is, we already know we're celebrating with Daniel. Congratulations. But I'm posting that thing everywhere because that's a celebration too, for everyone, not just for Daniel and his family, but our school community, our teachers, our biology teacher, who's an absolutely amazing individual. Andy, he's jumping on there. He's retweeting. He's doing all the things. And what we're doing is we're just creating and continuing that Big Mo. So here's a little tip and trick for all of our administrators out there. So how do you sustain that? Right. So we have a leadership meeting that we have every single week. Every Monday, our leadership team comes together. That's our assistant principals, our counselors. We have a social media person that helps with our website. And we go and we highlight what are those positive things that have happened. And then we say, okay, what's coming up? We have that one event coming up. When you're in that science class, when you're in that math class, what's coming up that we know is going to be a hot ticket item, if you will. And then what we do is we'll take a day out of the week. A counselor will take a Monday. I'm just throwing some different days out there. AP will be on, on duty, quote unquote, at the football game. So they'll take that day that they work, and we just sustain that information. They'll gather some B-roll video. They'll get some pictures. They'll get their up close and personal with the kids and the coaches and the teachers, and they will use that day. That'll be their day to push out that positive information. And we do that weekly. So that's how we continue to sustain the things all year long. So it's a little trick and a little tip, but it's sustainable. You just gotta put it on that agenda and push through and make sure that it happens.
You took Josh Tovar's class, didn't you? I know you did. I know you did. Go ahead, Josh. You're up. This is going to be fun.
So let me know, Doc, how the Colts bounced back, or what did you guys do after this, and I always call it the disease, because it didn't only affect us physically, but our learning style, the regression. I don't care what you say. The kids didn't fall back. We couldn't find them. They didn't show up. So how did the Colts bounce back from these last 2 years of anarchy?
You know what? We're big believers as our leadership team and our teachers. We talk about balancing our profession, balancing our personal lives. And we were very, very much adamant about taking care of each other, ourselves, one another, our families. And by doing so that we could be in the right mindset to help our kids. Really what we did, and just to be real with you guys, we just kept pushing on. Yes, we had to go through the process of making sure that, the kids stayed the masked up when they were required to, in the 6 foot. And, we did everything that we were asked to do to be safe, of course, but we continued pushing forward with our education and with our expectations. And by doing so, the kids, most of the kids, they jumped on board and they just came along. And those that were struggling behind, we made those connections. We would try to call home. We would connect with those kids individually, and we would try to bring them along. We can only control what we can control, and that is one of those messages that I continue to push during that pandemic was, hey, we can't do anything about X happening outside of our campus. We can't do that. What we can do is control the things that are happening within our campus. And we really kept that mentality and that mindset to move forward. And everyone, did things a little bit different. But I personally, as a leader, refused to live in what was wrong with the world. I personally refused to reject of this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. Our mentality as a leadership team was, all right, here is the challenge. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to push through? And that's the way we approached it. And that's how we continue. That's really how we bounce back. We just continue doing what we knew how to do within our guidelines, and we just push through. And because of that, I'm proud to say that our state testing scores that we had a few subject levels and subjects that came back with the highest scores that the school had ever had in the state's history, which is nuts. We had, for instance, I'll use my algebra, Miss Carr, for example. She had a 90% master's level algebra, master's level, 100% passing, just like my biology teacher, 100% passing, but it was a 90% master's level. That's college and career ready as an 8th grader. The things like that, those were just different celebrations. And because the kids just jumped right back on board and did exactly what we asked with them. It's about relationships. We hear that all the time. Relationships. But honestly, guys, sometimes what's not coupled that I don't hear when people say relationships is expectations. We coupled the two. We really did. And that was part of our success. And that's how we bounce back. We have high expectations, but we definitely build those relationships, authentic relationships where we really know our kids.
So let me ask you something real quick. I'm sorry, Dean.
No, go ahead.
Just to dive in real quick. How did you face this? I would say that 60% of the year, different campuses were hit hard with these famous TikTok challenges. And
Yeah.
I know that middle schools were hit pretty hard, and then freshman level at the high schools were damaging physically to the actual campus. What did the Colts go through? How did you put that from letting it get bigger?
Yeah. So great question, Josh. And I'm just going to keep things real with you. We didn't have that problem. And here's why. The culture on our campus has been built for years. And you guys know that it takes time to build the culture that we want. Our kids have so much pride in our campus that they refused to allow others to treat those, to treat our campus in that different, that capacity. With that said, our administrative team, our 8 assistant principals, they were very proactive, as were our counselors, were very proactive also in the sense of they got out in front of it. We jumped on those announcements. We were very proactive being around on campus. We're very visible. We're hardly ever in our offices as leaders and counselors and assistant principals and administrators. Me as a principal, we're on campus and we're constantly visible. So our kids honestly just knew, you take care of Colt Country. You take care and have pride in your school. We didn't have any of those TikTok challenges, not one that I can say and think of, Josh. So I'm just being real. I know that's not probably the answer you're wanting to hear, but that's just the truth. And that's, again, I'll attribute that to the expectations of our campus and the culture that we have on our campus. Kids they just didn't really want to do.
I agree with you, David, because we hardly had any also.
That's
And
great.
it goes down to those things, is making sure that the kids feel appreciated and wanted in there, and they take care of their house. If they feel comfortable in the house, they're going to take care of their casa.
Absolutely.
And the other thing, you're saying it all the time. You're setting the seeds. You're making it very clear what those expectations are for kids. And I'll tell you what, a child wants their place to be really clean, and they want it to be good, and they want it to be special, and they want to come to school every day free from dealing with all that stuff. They really do. But I love that. Here's another question that I want to ask you as I've been a sitting leader for a while. Talk about student voice. How do you elicit that within your school? How do you make them part of the learning process? Because every great school is driven not only by their staff, but by kids and their dreaming ability. Talk to me about that.
Love it. Student voice is a staple on our campus. So when I first came on campus, we had incorporated, back 6-7 years ago, whatever it is now, we immediately as a leadership team said, this is a key component for our continuous improvement model to be better as a campus, we need to hear from our number one stakeholder, and that's for our kids. So interestingly enough, I have this in the background here on my YouTube. You just Google David Aaron CBO pop up. So you'll see nothing but just embedded student voice videos here where our kids are a part of everything that's going on and talking about the campus. So they're our greatest promoter. Our kids are talking about all the things that are coming up in the campus. Our kids give our teachers feedback, like, hey, or when our teachers ask, you met Bridget, Josh, the other day, a few weeks back at that conference, TASSP conference. And, she was one of the best when it came to it, because she would simply ask the kids, hey, we did this. How do you guys feel about this? Would there have been a different way, another way that you guys would have liked to learn that information? And they immediately give her and our teachers that feedback, and our teachers immediately implement that information or that into their lesson plans and their design. So student voice is very much alive and well on our campus. And interestingly enough, it ended up becoming one of the school districts for major goals and overall goals, as we have a LEAD 2.0 district-wide goal. And that number 3 is student voice. So we were doing it before it became a thing on at the district level, which was pretty neat, because we always felt that we led from the front with that, and we'll continue doing that. But our kids are very much a part of it. I mentioned our biology teacher. We actually brought in kids. We bring in kids to our interviews, and we listen to their feedback. Our biology teacher that we currently have right now, he was a home run with everyone, particularly our students. So he started talking about, hey, I would love to use this AR model, where kids can go around and see the different DNA and different things, from a different visual, 3D visual. And I was, I'm kind of a little bit out of the box type of thinker. I was like, well, great. Can you show us? And we put him right there on the spot. So he started teaching our kids that were in the interview on the spot. He goes away. We knew he was a home run. I asked the kids, what'd you guys think? Love him. And you can see that interaction and connection that they had even within that interview time. So just, that's another tidbit that we use, but our kids are very much involved with everything. Our campus excellence committees, our campus improvement plans, our kids are on that. They give us the feedback. So they're very much a part of that. We have a student voice wall that they'll walk by every single day when they're going to the cafeteria to eat. They can pick up their Friday music, because on Fridays during passing periods, we'll play some music in the halls. Kids just love it. They're just upbeat. They're heading to class. They love it. They're big smiles on the face, and they can even give us down to feedback to the actual song that we're playing. Appropriate, of course. We always got to keep things appropriate, but yeah, they're very much involved in everything that we do, and we love our kids, and we love their voices, because it's all about them. Again, they're our number one stakeholder. So.
There's nothing traditional about you, man. You are a visionary. I love it. And that's what people want to see. People who are buying a product want to know how far out in front you are with that product, and why my kids are going to want to buy it each and every day. So, man, you're selling it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Josh?
So we all know former coaches, everybody, and I know we're seeing a lot of coaches become administrators, and we all have heard this redundantly: success breeds success. And once you establish a winning program, then you know what? All the positive and all the not positive falls on the chair that we sit in at the campus level. If a older lady falls down on the sidewalk, guess who's going to get the call? The chair is going to get the call. If the scores come up and they're high, who's going to get the call? You're going to get the call. So success breeds success. And, and part of this right now, the beautiful thing that you've been nominated as the Texas Secondary School Principal of the Year. Congratulations on that. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of administrators out there. So let us know a little bit about that journey that you're on right now, because not only were you the current Secondary School Principal of the Year for Texas, but now you're going to represent the Lone Star State in Washington, D.C. for NASSP. So let us know about that journey.
Oh, man. Humbling, grateful. All the words that I can put in there. It's been a whirlwind, this whole year. I actually got the call early last summer that, hey, you're up for the Region 11. There's 20 regions in Texas, and you're up for the region award. And that in itself, being a region, winner is a big deal. And I was just very, very grateful. Then after that, I got the call that, hey, you're going to be a top 3 finalist for Texas. Come in and come into the state capital of Austin and come interview with our principal interviewing selective committee. And And so that was a fun experience in itself. So I had an opportunity to meet with them, and Mr. Bloomer, he led that up, and Todd, he does a great job, but he had a whole team with him. And I got the call the following week saying, "Hey, congratulations, you're the middle school principal of the year." And that's it. I was done. I was on cloud nine, and then he said something else. He's like, "Hey, and by the way, you're the state principal." I didn't hear any of that because I was stuck like middle school. Like, I can't believe this is happening. This is amazing. So it was pretty cool. And so I ended up having to call Archie, who's over TASSP, our executive director for that in the state. I was like, "Archie, you said something on the phone yesterday about a different award. What was all that?" And he's like, "Yes. So not only you're the middle school, but you are the sole secondary principal to represent the entire state as the Texas principal of the year, and you're going to represent the state to go to the national level for the NASSP award." So it's just been a whirlwind. It's been pretty humbling. It's been neat. I've had a couple kids, Nicole and Daniel. They've actually had send some different recommendations for me. So it's been neat to see the kids and some of the teachers and our parents. Had our PTA parent, our executive president, she sent in a recommendation for me. So just all of that was just humbling in itself. And it's been a whirlwind. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's I don't even know what to say. It's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
I know you're not asking for advice, but as somebody who's a little bit older than you, what I'm going to tell you to do, keep smiling and keep doing what you're doing, because you don't even know the impact that you're having. And these accolades, they just come. They come and you don't look for them. And the bottom line is this: if your kids are happy, your staff are happy, if your learning community is happy and you're buzzing and thriving, great things just fall into place. They just do. And that's what the master coach does. That's what a master leader does. Talking about a master leader, talk a little bit about your book. Where is your vision with this? I know there's one coming out in the fall. What does that look like?
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, I've been going back and forth with my publicist. It's something I always wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to write a book, but I really thought it was going to be towards the tail end of just my professional career. And, a good friend of mine, my publicist, she ended up coming back and saying, "Hey, it's time now. You've got this accolade. You have a platform right now. You really need to strike while the iron's hot." So I said, "All right, let's go." So I've been, after work, I work, and during the summer, I'm working on the book. So it's a lot of leadership based. I mentioned, some of my journey growing up in life. So that elements of that will be in there, just kind of learning and living and understanding poverty and going through poverty. I'm a first generation college student. So we have that aspect of things. So I'm going to have, different elements of that within the book. And then really just kind of using what I've learned through that journey and how to just be resilient and use that grit and use the passion that you have for life and love, loving on our kids and our community and just really investing and adding value into others. So it's really a leadership based book, just, stories from my experience growing up. So I'm really excited about that. But I'll tell you what, it's pretty tough. So I'm dyslexic. I sometimes I'll talk about it, sometimes I won't. So writing is not the easiest of things for me. But all that to say, just being dyslexic, it slows things down a little bit. But I'm still excited, because again, it doesn't matter. It's going to happen. We're going to push through. So that's what the book's all about. Just using those stories of, hey, you can be successful. You can be successful regardless of our circumstances and situations. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. You can come from nothing. You can be homeless like I was. It doesn't matter. You can be anything that you want to be. So that's what the book's a little bit about, and a little bit going back and forth with the publicist. I get asked all the time, "What's the title of your book? What's your title?" I don't know. We'll see. So I'm going to keep writing. We're going to keep going. And we did decide to hold off because we were wanting to release it this summer. But we're going to release it in the fall after we learn a little bit more with the NASSP, with that distinguishment coming out. So we'll see what happens with that. But we're looking at the fall for that. Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to toss another nugget before Josh takes his. And, a lot of individuals may shy away from getting into administration today only because of the fact that there is just the unpredictableness of it, the hours, what it entails. It's probably not the greatest allure for that classroom teacher anymore. But as a high school coach for 12 years myself, I've always said it's my job to find the next David. It's my job to find the next Josh. My job, I'd say, to find the next me. One of these days I'm going to retire. So we have to continuously look. What would you say? How do you go about trying to inspire the young talent to be able to think about moving from that classroom into a leadership role?
Yeah. So it's definitely adding value to our folks. You know, we are my superintendent. He's a great man, Dr. Ryan. He's constantly asking us and challenging us. Go look for that next person. Go look. You know, go invest in those future leaders. And I'm a firm believer in that. And I believe legacy is a very powerful thing. And then that's, you know, the 5 levels of leadership that John Maxwell talks about in his book. That's one of those things. So, you know, one thing that I personally do is not only invest into our leadership team, but, you know, I'll go to those teacher leaders, not only that are on campus, but outside that will reach out to me, and I'll go out and I'll search myself. And anytime that I can invest and just add value to them, and spending time with them just to give them advice and information, anyone that's willing to listen, I'm willing to talk. But you know, so I'll actively look for those individuals, and we have, I mean, on my campus, I'm just very fortunate. We have just tons of them, so I'm constantly having those conversations for to those individuals that say, "Hey, I want to be a leader." Well, let me tell you what that looks like. You know, this is how you can use your strengths. This is how you can use your background, your passion, your experience, because you can be an effective one. And just, you know, pouring into those individuals and adding value into them. So I definitely expand outside of our campus, because we have a ton on campus. The majority of the staff, I feel, they're leaders. Everyone's a leader, right? 360 leader. There's another John Maxwell for you. The 360 leader, we can lead for anywhere where we're at, but investing into those individuals, not only on campus, but outside in our district, outside in our communities, and even here on this type of platform, the things that you guys do here, guys, we're investing into leaders right here. If the individual right now that's listening to us is willing to put maybe sometimes that ego aside, or whatever it might be just they love learning, and that's a great thing, and they're willing to listen and then actually implement it. That's the key right there. Implement it. You know, now we're looking at great future leaders. And so I'm going to take a quick second on that. It's one thing to listen and to learn and to write notes down. It's another thing to be an executive functioning person where you're actually doing it. That's the key. And those are the people that I look for. Who's going to actually follow through with what they say? So that's just me personally, but that's something I do when we're looking for those future leaders.
I want David on office hours, Josh, when we go to have our 15-minute roundup session. So we're not done with you, okay? We're gonna be dinging up your phone. We're calling you back
anytime. Love it. I love it.
It's so great that you know, we all had a little intuition, and the second that I walked into your session, I knew that you were going to bring the fire. I knew that people needed to hear your voice, all within the 50 states. So it's very important that all of us take the knowledge that you bring to the table to today's session. This is free PD. Remember that, everybody. This is free PD. You have an individual here who is a minority, lower socioeconomic, first-generation graduate, a doctor, a PhD, and now a national representative, secondary school principal for the state of Texas. Let me tell you, those of us that come from poverty, those of us that come from that, we never imagined to reach the chair. We never imagined to walk across the stage with a college degree because of all the adversity when we were kids. And you know what? I really value your strife. I really value the success that you brought, not only for all professionals, but also for that Hispanic that's out there that's looking up to you and saying, you know what? Sí se puede, amigo. Mira al doctor. Sí se puede. Si él pudo, tú también puedes. So it's one of those things that, as our culture is always looking for role models, and I value you. I thank you for bringing that to the table too. Subpopulation of the Hispanic Americans within the United States. Hey, Dr. A, let me ask you one thing. Is there something we haven't asked you? Is there something you want to bring to the table here before we close off the show?
Oh man! First, thank you, Josh. I appreciate that. That those words mean a lot. You know, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the love languages. Words of affirmation is definitely at the top of mine. So, Josh, thank you. That fuels me right there. I'm grateful. You know, I'm really blessed. I'm just thankful to really to spend this time with you all, and to be able to invest and hopefully add value into someone maybe that today that was listening. And then moving on, I'm very grateful for this opportunity. Josh, when you told me about this, I was like, yeah, this is something I definitely want to do. I want to learn, and I want to be a part of the great things that you guys have going on here. So thank you guys for the platform here, and thank you for that free PD. Iron sharpens iron, and we know that. I'm sure you guys, I've heard you guys say that before in the past. on past sessions, and it's so true. So I'm really grateful, and I'm just thankful for everything that you guys do to invest into our profession. We have a very, very important profession. With the work we do, it matters, and you guys know that. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but this is really important work. And when times do get tough, because challenges are inevitable, as we know, especially as administrators or anything, it's just life, and we don't have to be administrators to know that. Regardless of the challenges, this profession is important, and the work that we do it matters. So I'm just grateful for you all, and that's all I'm trying to say. And so just thank you for the opportunity tonight. And I do hope I get a chance to hang out with you guys a little bit more. That 15-minute session, that sounds pretty cool, Dean. What's all that? What's that about?
That's a new thing we're coming out with. It's called Office Hours, a couple times a week. We're just going to talk about what's bothering us today. What's bothering us today? We're just going to banter back and forth, throw something in the hat, bring on 4 principals, 4 leaders across the country, 5, and just rotate people in and out. What's bothering you today? How can we become better together? And you want to know something? That is what we do and why we do what we do. Think about it. It's great stuff, man. I'm super excited. I'm so happy I met you tonight. Your enthusiasm and your passion, like I said, it shines through in everything that's about you. Don't stop. Don't look backwards. Go right through that mirror. Keep looking straight ahead and driving that train home, because your staff, your learning community, and your students need that from you each and every day. So thank you so much. And I did. I'll put you on my admin team any day, and I'll even follow you, man. How's that sound? That's what I'm going to do. I'd love that. Josh, take us home, my friend.
Well, thank you for being here today, Dr. A. That's what the kids call you, Dr. A. Thank you for being here. We did a great job. And you know what? Our show is not over, because on Thursday, we've got the Red Zone.
We get
some Texas football, some touchdowns being scored. One on the A-gap dive. Let's smash it through and score another touchdown for student success, as we all learn from each other this coming Thursday. But we have a brand new idea. The good thing about summer, we're going to have office hours. We all had that syllabus where we had those office hours. And sometimes we need to get stuff off our chest. And we only become stronger together, because you know what? Iron sharpens iron. And let's have those conversations ongoing, maintaining confidentiality as we always have.
Of course.
But ultimately, I can guarantee you that what David faces, I face, you face, Miller in Montana faces, everybody faces the same conversations and obstacles, and the only way we're going to become better is by hearing about it and how we resolved it. So let's join. We'll be putting those promos out in a couple of days, but most importantly, don't forget, join us on the Red Zone, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Thursday night.
We need your voice. Thank you, Dean. Let's go home and relax with our families.
Let's go, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. David, absolute pleasure, man. You're a rock star. Don't ever stop. Josh, you know how I feel about you. David, stay on if you can. We are going to end the stream. Everybody, have a great week.